This was a show request, but I'm kind of taking it a little bit of a different direction. Now, Mo over on the Spec Ops forum said, hey, Tiger, can you show us what Woods players can learn from playing Speedball? Because Speedball is kind of a cool game. And I thought, you know, that's a good idea, but let's take that one step further, because there's a lot of guys who play Woodsball all the time, and you know, it's getting to be that time of year, you're itching to play, but it's still too cold, it's still too muddy, it's still too whatever. So the only place you can find is a big Speedball course like this, and you're kind of feeling a little bit intimidated because I don't have any of the gear, I don't have any of this, I don't have any of that. That's okay. This is going to be the crash course for Woods players playing Speedball. What you bring to the table and what you can learn by playing a lot of Speedball. First, a really quick history lesson. You guys can do the research if you want to, but this is basically how it goes. Speedball was kind of invented in the late 80s, early 90s as a distraction because the games were 45 minutes long. You get shot in the first 5 minutes, it sucked. So a lot of fields, they figured out, you know, we can keep these guys shooting paint by throwing fields up like this. Put up these bunkers, put up these large objects, and let them just shoot each other on really tight courses like this. But let's talk about your gear. Let's talk about the stuff that you bring to the table. Now, for this entire series, I'm going to be shooting my A5, A2, a typical Tippmann blowback semi-automatic mechanical marker. And the reason I'm using this is because this is fairly typical of what most players are going to use, most of the Woods guys. You're probably going to be using a mechanical. This is your main gun right here. So everything I'm going to be showing you, you can do with a mechanical. But let's talk about what you bring to the table with this. Typical mechanical paintball marker can shoot about 9 balls per second. It takes a lot of skill to do it, but you can do it. So keep that in mind, that if you really need the firepower, this should be all the firepower you need. I can already hear a lot of people rolling their eyes and saying, oh, no, you need to shoot a lot of paint than that, but not really. And I just kicked over again. Okay, we'll deal with it. Something else you'll notice too is that I'm wearing my tack vest, and that's because a lot of the Woods guys, this is what you're going to wear. I am very much a believer in practice as you play. So if you're warming up for the summer season, go ahead and break the stuff out and use this on the Speedball field. It's not going to be the best, but this will work really well for you. You'll also notice that I have a remote line sitting on my back right now because that's how the A5 wants to shoot. And actually that kind of brings to the point of the lesson today is that you have to play within your means. You're not going to be able to go toe-to-toe with the electro gun guys. You're not going to be able to know the field in and out. You're probably not going to know most of the things that the regulars who play this all the time. You're not going to know everything that they know. So play to your strengths, not to your opponent's strengths. They're going to want to draw you into a one-on-one shootout constantly. You don't want to do that, but we're going to talk about that as we go on. As far as the rest of your gear goes, practice as you play. So if you wear knee pads when you play, put your knee pads on. If you wear boots when you play, throw your boots on. You don't have to go out and go buy a whole bunch of new gear in order just to play a couple of games of Speedball. Just use your old Woods gear, you're fine. Of course, that all being said, let's get down to business.